James Creedon, Media Watch.
I try, Mark.
Great jacket, sir. Where's it from?
Thank you very much. I'm trying to remember now.
That's okay. We'll talk about it later privately. That's a private thing.
Okay, indeed.
He dresses well, this guy. Tell us about Twitter being taken offline in Turkey in the wake of the explosion, of course.
Not for the first time, Mark. As you're well aware, it's been happening periodically over the last number of years.
It's about part of the censorship thing that goes on under Erdogan, isn't it?
Essentially, and that's what some of the. I'll just show you some of the images that are circulating on social media that indicate that censorship, that sum it up. You have the famous blue Twitter bird with censorship stamped on top of it, the Turkish flag there, and a sort of a weepy looking Twitter bird. So those are the sort of images that are circulating to indicate people's unhappiness, I suppose, with that reflex. This is Today Zaman, a Turkish newspaper in English, talking about how this has caused some ire. The fact that it was just a few hours, this censorship, but it has ruffled feathers, so to speak. Why? Because of the suicide attack yesterday, over 30 killed in that. There were images circulating online, but actually Le Monde has another theory. They're saying, look, it's all very well to censor gory images. You can, perhaps understand that as a motivation, but it's also about preventing criticism of the government's perceived deficiencies in their counter-terrorism efforts. And those criticisms online could, of course, lead to the organisation of protests, as happened back in 2013. This is an article from that time, the Taksim protests, the Taksim Square protests, or the Gezi Park protests, as they were known as well. 25 Twitter users were detained by Turkish police at that time. You had the then Prime Minister, now President Recep Erdogan, calling the social media outlet the worst menace to society. So certainly there's a very hardline approach, and you can see various headlines here. That one from 2014, when a YouTube video was taken offline, this time for allegedly showing top-level Turkish officials discussing an attack on Syrian militants. And this is a headline from April of this year, when Twitter was again removed, or Twitter was taken offline for temporarily until they removed photos of a slain prosecutor. So they have an extremely tough approach on social media when it comes to sensitive issues.
What would it do in Ireland? What would it do in Britain? What would it do in the USA? I imagine there'd be a similar kind of protection of people,
yes,
or censorship, depending on how you wish to interpret it. But it does seem to be a coincidence that it happens a lot in Turkey.
Yes. In fact, Turkey has the highest number of requests for removal of material from Twitter, in 2014 at least, by far the highest.
Let's go out of this world momentarily and find out about the new planet that has been discovered. It's called Kepler 452b.
That's right.
And is it a bit like Earth?
It is a bit like Earth. It's also like Kepler 186f, which was discovered in April of last year, but we won't get into that because it's now we're focused on 452b. And you need to come up with snappier names.
And it's 1,400 light years away. Is that right?
Somebody explained to me earlier how long it would take to get there, moving very, very fast.
How long?
And it was over 1,400 years, but moving very fast. I think faster than.
So you couldn't stop for a sandwich somewhere. You'd have to keep going, keep going.
Stop it.
It's amazing. It's mind blowing.
It is, and especially these images, the graphics are very evocative, and you can really almost kind of, it leaves the imagination run wild. Suggests we are not alone, says this headline on IFI Science. You've also got people with hashtags, we are not alone. This is just amazing. So the imagery where you can see these graphics that have been released by NASA and others indicating the Earth-like nature of the planet, a sun just 10% larger than our own sun, a year that's 385 days long. So the similarities are pretty striking. But look, some people are also being cynical, and I have to say they're also kind of being funny. 60% larger than Earth is Kepler 452b. 60% more planet for future humans to suck dry and destroy.
It's a point of view.
Yes. Hoping that there are no Tories there. That's Neil McKay. I presume there's on the other side of the bench there might be some people hoping there's no Labour
Hoping
Party.
there's no socialists there as well,
Right. How long will it take to pollute and destroy Kepler? Oh, what else was there, Mark? There were loads. I mean, honestly, you could go on all day. I think there's even a photograph of Nicolas Sarkozy somewhere saluting the leader of Kepler. Do we have that? There he is. That's not real, obviously. Yeah. But
do you think so?
Some politicians, if they could be there, they would be there.
So it could be a parallel universe where there's, sort of you and Will and me sort of doing the same thing on Kepler.
But on the other side of the set.
But indeed, that's how it would be, isn't it? We'd be sort of circling round the platform.
Eiffel Tower over here.
Amazing stuff. Any more, James?
Well, what else? We have...
we're short for time, but quick one. Go on.
No, well, this is NATO already planning. This is actually controversial. Could they bring peace and democracy to Kepler? I think that's actually tongue in cheek. Somebody who thinks NATO.
Well, if they think that can happen, well, I think they're really dreaming, aren't they? Okay, James, thank you very much. Thanks, indeed. Mark. James Crew of the Media Watch, Will Hildebrand, of course, with The Business, and thank you for watching too. Stay with us, more news to come.